All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Katrine. If you never met me before at one of our Flow events, maybe you've seen me on LinkedIn, where I like to talk about AI in e-commerce and fashion. Today, I am here to talk about the current state of AI in e-com fashion. And don't worry, it's not just going to be me. I do have one guest joining me here on stage today, but before I introduce our guest today, per tradition, let's start this session with a little poll. All right, so compared to 2025, how has your use of AI for e-com fashion, how has that changed? And I do need everyone who is in this session today to help me out here. We do have a few different options. Is it the same as last year? Still just testing. Last year, we were testing. This year, we are planning to implement. Or are we already implementing AI into content workflows? Or already implementing and expanding into new content types? And I'll just give everyone a couple of more seconds to get their votes in. And while you guys do that, I would like to introduce our second speaker up on the stage here today. Thomas, please join me. All right, there you are. Hi, Thomas. Thomas, where are you joining from?
I'm actually super lucky because I'm joining you all from London today. And what a great day to join from London instead of Copenhagen, because my telephone was just like beep, 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 beep. There's apparently been an earthquake in Copenhagen.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Which, I mean, I have to say I didn't actually feel it, although I know Tuan here in the office, he was like, well, there's something was shaking. Didn't feel the earthquake, Thomas. I think we're all safe and sound over here.
Okay, good.
But okay, no more earthquake talk. But Thomas, you're Pixelz CEO. I guess I should just mention that. Why are you here today? Do you dream about AI?
Do I dream about AI? I actually dream about AI, and I have both the good dreams and then I have nightmares as well. So I think it's fair to say, I mean, we've been visiting a couple of customers today, and I think it's pretty fair to say that AI is high on the agenda. So that's a yes.
Very high. And I'm just looking at the poll results here. And it's interesting because we actually have a tie. And we have a tie between last year we were testing, this year we plan to implement. Then we also have already implementing and expanding to new content types. We got 29% on both of those. How does that surprise you, or does that align with what you're currently seeing and what you're hearing when you're out talking to all the different brands about AI?
Well, I have to say this is actually very, very much aligned with what we've seen. I think we've gone through different phases here. I think in the beginning, there was a lot of curiosity, right? And people were kind of playing around. Then we started testing, then we started doing certain pilots. And then based on that, certain specific use cases were being selected, to leverage the AI. And then right now we see that actually, developing into leveraging AI to create actually customer-facing visuals. So I think that aligns very well with what we see, yes.
Mm-hmm. And if you just like zoom out a little bit and look at big picture, because the truth is, we have been talking about AI for years. I've been with Pixelz now for 6 years, and honestly, we've been talking about AI for 6 years. But even if we just go, say, just 12 months back or 18 months back, you do feel there has been a shift in maybe moving away just from talking about AI to actually start implementing it. Is that what you think we're seeing at this point?
Yes, I think we are, and I think we've seen it not just a shift in how we're using AI, but also what we're using AI for. I think in the beginning, there was a big fascination around all these prompts and what you could do for these tools. And everyone was instantly thinking, whoa, campaign editorial imagery. Also because you have more time to play around, you have more time to play around with your prompts, you have a lot of time to do the post needed and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of seemed, somehow it seemed like a low-hanging fruit to, for experimentation and stuff like that. But I think now technology and stuff has evolved. So now we see that moving into the PDP space. And that's probably where we actually use it the most right now. That's actually to elevate PDPs.
And it's true, because it's not like we weren't seeing any brands pushing like big campaigns, AI campaigns out last year. We absolutely did. But it was much more campaign. It was much more lifestyle. And I think it's super exciting that we're starting to see AI making it onto the PDP as well, because I think that's where it really belongs. I think that's where we'll have the most efficiency gains, and it's also where a lot of like that routine standard work, hopefully we can get rid of some of that. And let me just pull up a couple of examples here. One of our favorite examples, as always, we've got Mango up here. This is just a screenshot of one of Mango's teen category pages. And one of the things that I find really fascinating here is that it's not everything that you see here that's AI. I think it's like 7 of these images that are AI, but not all of them. So Mango's really started experimenting with like the more, what used to be like the traditional studio shots, right? Just like traditional on-model shots. But what is really cool here is how well they actually blend into the category page, where you also have like the real models and everything. And I think that's something that we haven't seen so much before, or maybe I'm wrong. I mean, because one of the reasons that I know 7 out of these images are AI, right, is because Mango, they're labeling everything, right? It literally says down here, it's very small, but you can see like a tiny white line of text right here. It literally says, these images were created with AI. But every time we do these webinars, or every time we're looking for like PDP examples, we're actually struggling a bit to find just PDP campaigns. But I'm not sure it's because they're not out there. I think they're out there. I think we're just at a point now where the technology and the quality has gotten to a point where a lot of brands are actually using AI for PDP as well. We just don't know because they're not labeling it. Can you, Thomas, can you confirm that's the case? I mean, you don't have to mention any brand names, but do you know of other large fashion brands that are currently doing a lot of AI stuff and using it on PDP as well?
If I can confirm that, yes, considering there's a lot more brands out there that are using it. I think, at least we know which ones of our customers that are using this. Of course, not everyone is labeling it the way Mango is. I think Mango right now, they're actually a little forward thinking and getting ready for the EU AI Act, where beginning of August, we need to start labeling this. And I think they've already started that. So good job to Mango. But I think, yes, there's quite a few more brands out there than we might expect that at some shape or form is leveraging AI on their PDP. Definitely, yes.
Yeah. And you're right, we do have this EU Act coming into effect in August. I think it's 2nd of August this year. It's interesting, right? Because right now, I think a lot of brands are getting away with not labeling it, not telling people that it's AI, because we don't have to, but very soon we will have to. And I also see Zach over here in the chat saying he's interested in how this is if this is going to impact consumer sentiment. And that's a great question. I do know from having talked to Mango about their campaigns that what they're doing, at least like from a sales perspective, they're selling this. This is the garments, like the images that are created using AI. There's no big difference in the way they're selling compared to their other stuff. So, Mango is doing it. And I guess for this type of campaign, it seems to be working well. And that actually leads...
And also, Katrine, just want to mention that some of the polls and surveys we've done for the Flow events, we actually know that consumers, they don't really care if it's AI or not, but what they do not want to be is cheated. So in my mind, labeling it, you can always discuss is it necessary or not, but why not? If you're a consumer, don't really care, instead of running the risk of a shitstorm because you're cheating your customers in terms of what they're actually looking for. So
Yeah.
but there's a ton of opinions on that.
Yeah, and I
Sorry.
guess I probably like the main point in the end, right? The most important thing is not if it's AI or not. The most important thing is that the garment, like what is true to what the actual garment looks like when the consumer gets it in their hands. And the next example we have here is Desigual, so another big European fashion brand. This is fresh. New campaign from last week. And the only reason that I know this is AI is because Desigual went out and said, hey, look what we did. This is all AI, but they're not labeling it. So I think what Desigual is doing here, right? This looks very much like a campaign shot in LA. I think they wanted this LA vibe. And obviously, instead of like flying the entire crew out to LA from Barcelona, where they're headquartered, it's probably much more efficient and probably also cheaper, maybe, to create this with AI. What do you think, Thomas? Is that why they did that?
I could imagine, right? Because especially the image to the, image number 1 and 3 here, you can almost see LA down there, right? And Pacific in the background. So I think they've saved a ton, a ton of flights, etc. here. But I'm actually not sure that cost savings is their main ambition here. I actually think it is to create more inspiring and more emotionally, attaching, visuals that enhance the customer experience. I actually think that's their intention here.
And I think what they're doing here, I think it works really well. I think this is a beautiful campaign. And if we just move forward here, just a few examples of some of the stuff that we've done. And to your point, Thomas, these are like category page images as well, right? It's like about taking what you have and creating more with it without having to do another shoot. One thing we've also been doing for some of our clients, our kids campaigns, and we've actually had a few requests for AI kids campaigns. And Thomas, why do you think kids campaigns are so popular when it comes to working with AI?
Well, I think that anyone who's been in a studio, right, whether you're a photographer or a stylist or an art director or whatever, then kids in a studio is always a little tricky. And there's different rules around, how many working hours and so on and so forth. So I actually think kids campaigns is maybe a natural place to begin. And if you look at these campaigns that we've done here, I'm of course maybe a little biased, but I actually think they're super, super, super cool, and they would have been difficult to do. And again, this is about elevating the customer experience, right, and building out a website and a PDP that is just super engaging and so on. So yeah.
But of course, when it comes to AI, it's not all well and good, right? I mean, there are still a ton of challenges, because if there wasn't, I think we would see much more of that already out there. So just, Thomas, real quick, across the brands that we are talking to and working with, at this point today, what are the current challenges or the main challenges that they are running into when they start implementing AI into their content workflows?
Well, I think there are main three things, Katrine. I think one thing is to find out how do you actually integrate this into your existing workflows in order to leverage AI in an efficient way. I think that's one thing. And then I think the second thing is there is just such a big difference between creating a couple of videos, for instance, from image to video a day, and then doing a test and then getting a decent result. And then we've been talking to a customer today about doing literally 300-400 videos a day. That scalability issue is just a completely different beast to handle. And the third thing, that is to make sure that the output is actually web ready, and that it is what we refer to as art director approved visuals. So, I mean, adapting workflows, ensuring scalability, and making sure that the output is spot on in terms of quality, meaning art director approved. Those are the three things I would mention.
And without turning this into a major sales pitch for Pixelz, could Thomas just 1 minute on how do we approach this? How do we work with AI when it comes to the clients that we work with? We like to call this our content philosophy. This slide. What is this?
Yeah, I mean, this is, and this is of course how we look at things, but I actually think this is how any fashion brand should look at things. The way we see it is that there's a certain input from the studio. What we do with that input is we optimize it. That means that we actually do pretty traditional retouching to those images. And then, so we make sure that the input that we have to our Gen AI content creation machine is optimized to create the best possible input. So there's a couple of things that's important here. That is that you start, and I think that's one of the things where we see changing as well, and that we talk to our customers about. That is, instead of the studio necessarily focusing on creating finished web-ready assets, then they need to focus on creating the optimal images, to be the input into this Gen AI content machine. So then we add basically two layers of hybrid production into this. The first is when we make sure that the input, we create what we call hero assets. So this is a human process to make sure that is nailed 100%. And then again, when we generate the multiple assets, the derivative assets, we again have art directors looking at, does this match expectations of a certain brand? Yes, no, yes. Online, no, we regenerate and we go again. So that's our philosophy here. That is basically, making many out of one.
Perfect.
Makes sense,
Thank
Katrine?
you. It does, and it also ties very well together with your point before, right? That it's not necessarily about cutting the cost here, cutting corners. It's about taking what you have and creating more with it.
Exactly.
Perfect.
I actually think, if I may, Katrine, I actually think we were also talking about that early on when we were talking about, is this to save money, or why do companies want to leverage Gen AI? In the beginning, I think it was we save money. But now I actually think that has changed. I think it's moved from saving money into making money. Because what we see is that with the same budget, you can create more assets and you can elevate your asset, backgrounds, locations, models, stuff like that. So what that does is that increases the customer experience on the website. And that means that what we actually see is that your consumer gets a better impression of the product you're trying to sell. And that means that you actually increase conversion rates by anywhere between what we see, the numbers that we see when we do split tests, is you increase conversion rates 1 to 3%, and you reduce returns by around 1 to 1.5%. And that's where leveraging Gen AI moved from saving money to making money. And the last bit is so much more important holistically for a fashion company than the first part. And I think that there's also a couple of questions to that. How does the Gen AI stuff, impact customer sentiment? Well, what we see is that if the Gen AI visuals are done right in the right quality, it enhances the customer experience. And that's exactly what you want. Because again, not to repeat myself, but that has an impact on conversion rates and returns, and all good. Sorry,
Good. No, Thomas, because the next question is an even bigger one, a better one, right? Because what we've been talking about so far is like, where are we at right now? What can we currently do? But just to spend, I know we're reaching time here, but for anyone who's interested in knowing just a tiny bit more about like where is the industry headed, Thomas, where do you think we'll be, say, 2 years, 5 years down the road? What are the major changes that we are going to see?
Yeah, that is a super good question, Katrine. And trying to predict the future is, of course, difficult. But the way I see it is that the fundamental change that is happening right now is that whole value chain of creating visuals for your PDP is partly changing from being fully physical to being at least partly digital. And that has a huge impact on how we are able to produce visuals. And that also means that back in the days, good old days, everything was 100% physical. Then we had to plan well in advance the photo shoots and thereby what visuals we needed. And what we will be able to do in the future is we'll be able to, because the value chain becomes much more digital, we'll be able to change that so that the visuals we generate, they are basically done in real time and on demand to match a certain need that occurs. And that's a huge change in content production. Yeah, I sometimes mention this example that imagine I'm in London now. There's a rain shower here every once in a while, right? Now I'm in Camden. When I move out the door here, all of a sudden there's a rain shower. And then boof, all the outdoor digital displays. Imagine they had a sign. Now you can go down and you can buy a Hugo Boss raincoat, and it's 50 meters down the street. And by the way, it's raining right now, so you get a 50% discount because we know that specific store has raincoats in stock. Boom. That's super proactive communication where you're moving from planned production into on-demand real-time production. And that's where I think that the whole content production industry is going over the next 2, 3, 4, however long time that's going to take.
So what you're saying, Thomas, is that those images that we need on those outdoor displays, they will actually be created more or less real time because it's raining, and now the raincoats will go on sale. All of that just sort of happens real time.
Real time, exactly. And it happens based on certain triggers, right? And I think even these triggers will be based on different business algorithms that will be built into AI agents that then triggers the production or the generation of specific visuals. So there's a lot going to happen over the coming years in this space. That's for sure.
Very exciting. Unfortunately, we are already over time. That also means that we're not going to have time to get into any of the good questions that we've gotten over here in the chat. We will make sure to find a way to answer those questions. I don't know if it's going to be a newsletter, it could be another webinar, blog post. We'll let you all know when we get to that. But also, just before we wrap up here, today, this session was actually the 3rd episode of our AI month, or our AI series. We do have one more episode coming up next Wednesday, May 27th. It's going to be myself again hosting. I'm going to be joined by Brian Guidry. And in 1 week from now, we'll be talking about how to build an AI business case for your organization. What are the things that you need to think about? What are the things that you need to know? And how do you measure the impact of AI? So join us next week. Tune in next week if you want to spend another 20 minutes with us learning about that. We will also make sure to share this recording and some exclusive bonus content from today. So keep an eye on your inbox. And then finally, and probably most importantly, today we're exactly 2 weeks away from our next Flow event. It's going to be in New York on June 3rd, and you'll be able to meet not just me there, you'll be able to meet Thomas there as well. And if you want to hear more about AI, we actually have, we are premiering a new format that we call the AI Lab. And we are going to be able to show the actual workflows behind some of the AI generated content and how we do it at scale. So if you're in or around New York in 2 weeks from now, we do still have a few seats open. So head over to our website and sign up for Flow. And Thomas and I will be delighted to see you there in person.
Yes, definitely.
But that was all for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope to see you, if not in New York, then in 1 week back to learn even more about AI. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Katrine.